It's about developing a mindset for wellness and a passion for life and the ability to be the best you can be for the long haul.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Hometown Talents and Treasures. Our goal is to introduce you to people who inspire, educate, motivate others in the community, and certainly our guest today does all of those. Nina Caron is a nutritionist and an exercise science and personal trainer. She's also, little known thing about Nina, in 2004 she was a champion of the Women's Masters Division of USA Track and Field.
In 2004, I qualified for the Olympic trials in the marathon event, and then during the years 2002 and 2003, I was the Grand Prix champion for my age group.
Which is pretty incredible. Now, why did you get involved in health, fitness, wellness?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have to say, my mom was a lifelong smoker. She really wasn't a very active person, and about how many years ago, she developed Alzheimer's at a pretty early age, around 68. She passed away a little over 10 years ago. It was really difficult to watch her physical and mental decline. That was part of it. I really believe that was a huge part of it. Also, just from the time I was a young kid in grammar school, I went to the Pike School, and that school encouraged everybody to participate in sports. I really loved it. I went on to the Governors. I played sports all through high school. And part of the training for the particular sports I was involved in, field hockey, I loved tennis during the summer, I swam. For the training for the field hockey and lacrosse, part of it was running. And I just found that I loved to run. I mean, I think it's hard to find individuals that are kind of ambivalent about the sport. I think you either are passionate about it or you really just want nothing to do with it, and I happen to fall into that first category. So a great way to inspire and encourage, it has been a great way to inspire and encourage I have 4 children, my own children, as well as some of my, I should say not some, all of my clients that I work with, weight training or cardio training. I just find it to be a very motivating factor.
And I love your motto. It's you say that my professional goal is to help each and every client individual to create and sustain a lifestyle mindset that supports wellness and passionate living. Anything is attainable with positive outlook and the proof and the proper tools and support, which is, very important. Proper tools and support. Exactly. And so let's talk about some of those tools. I want to start out by asking you, Nina, it seems like every week, every month, every year, there's a new study coming out about something bad for you or good for you or superfoods. Yeah. This week we hear that diet sodas actually make you fat. One year we hear low-fat diet. Another year we hear low carb. There's so much information out there. How do you decipher which information is good, and does every information that's out there can be used by everyone, or is it individualized?
Yeah. I think that's an excellent point, and that is something that I address almost on a daily basis with my clients of all ages. Because let's face it, you go into a grocery store, or you might be sitting, waiting to get your hair done or whatever, and you pick up a health magazine or shape magazine, or and you read conflicting information about maybe the latest, diet craze, the latest superfood, high protein, low, as you mentioned, low fat, high protein. And I think my first, I think the most important point that I'd like to make here is it's definitely worth taking the time to research well the source that you're getting your information from. The magazine, is it a scholarly article? Is it peer reviewed? If you're reading or picking up a book from a bookstore, research what kind of education does this individual have? What kind of life experience? If you're looking for sports-related nutrition, is this person himself or herself a competitive athlete? That's huge, because I think that in any field, like anything else, the life experience that you have is really a critical and important factor in how you communicate the information to your client, and having that own personal experience gives you an edge that I think that other people don't have. But again, I think the most important point to make here is that, like with anything, you have to know your source. You have to understand who the person is, where they're getting their information, how, because there is so much out there. And I think another point to make here is that I think with the arrival of Facebook and blogging, it's a great tool. It's a great media tool in one respect, but I do believe in another respect it's been a little bit damaging, because I think sometimes maybe recreational athletes might get on, talk about their experiences, their own personal experiences, say with a race, and what they did prior to their race, after their race, and if they were successful, and the average person might read about it, they might think, okay, that's it, that's the one for me, that's the protocol for me, that's the program I should follow. And I believe, I believe this about anything in life. Everything in life is multifactorial. Everything in life, there's an individual, unique perspective to it. So, yes, somebody with maybe your athletic background, same sort of maybe body type, you might have some sort of a connection, or might be able to a degree follow what their protocol was. However, it's really important to understand that everything is an individual thing, and you have to, and there are many factors that go into it, and you really have to be able to get somebody or read about how to dissect and incorporate all those factors into creating a program for yourself.
And so what are some of the dangers of, there's some really extreme diets out there.
Yeah.
A photographer, Mark Tebow with freecommunityconnection.com, is just starting one, fast track to detox, and it's no sugars, no carbs,
Right.
And people jump into these things because of the promises that they make.
Right. And that is a very commonplace thing. I think that if you look at the way our society is structured now, it's all about think about the pace of our society. So here we are, we're all on this rat race. Yes, exactly.
Treadmill.
Yeah, everybody is trying to fit in as many things as possible in the course of the day. So I think that as a result, a lot of people are looking for the quick fix. They want to remedy a weight management problem. Maybe they may want to manage or prevent a metabolic disorder in the quickest way possible. And so I think,
let's face it, just get ready for swimsuit
exactly,
season.
or your next,
Or
a wedding,
a wedding,
yep,
or a meeting, or
exactly.
something. We all want this quick fix, and we want this magic pill that'll make the fat burn away.
Right, exactly. And I guess from one perspective that's understandable, because let's face it, again, where I think most of us are in time deficit, so I totally understand that mindset that I just want to get it done, I don't want to think about it, I have too much going on with my job, too much going on with my family. But my point always comes, when I speak to individuals or groups about this, my point always comes back to this. It has to be sustainable. It's about developing a mindset for wellness and a passion for life, and the ability to be the best you can be for the long haul. And if those are your goals, which I truly believe that in this life, the best life you can have is if you're focused on those things, being the best you can be, keep getting something underway that is something that's sustainable, and it promotes a mindset and a physical body that will continue to be well, and will promote positive thinking. That's the way to go. And the only way to do those things is to implement a diet, as I said, that you can use over the long haul. You need all 3 macronutrients in your diet every single day: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And I know fat is a fearful word.
Well, you just said all the fearful words.
Yeah, exactly.
Carbs,
yes. Right.
Fearful word today.
Right. Carbohydrates, they're simple, they're complex. Often people, or those individuals that choose highly refined foods, we know that it's pervasive in our culture, in our society. A lot of people choose the highly refined, simple carbohydrates, which cause spikes and crashes in blood sugar, and that.
And for those who don't know what those are,
Yes.
give examples.
So yeah, right. So refined foods like white bread, white sugar, white rice, white bagel. Those are things that when you consume them, your bloodstream is infused with glucose. So they digest really quickly. So your infusion of glucose is very fast. It's almost instantaneous. But what that does, what goes up has to come down. So it causes a virtual spike and then crash in your blood sugar. And this becomes a vicious cycle, causes cravings. It creates all kinds of issues, metabolic issues. If that's the kind of diet you're on, causes, it is a major factor, risk factor for things like obesity, diabetes, both diabetes type 2, inflammatory disorders, I would say complex carbohydrates, like whole grain breads, whole grain pasta, legumes, things that are complex. They're slowly digested in your system, so that the increase in the glucose in your bloodstream is a gradual thing. So that keeps your blood sugar at a very balanced level, and we all need glucose. Glucose is the foundation for fuel for our bodies, especially if you're an athlete. That carbohydrate consumption is critical for optimal athletic performance. There's no question about it. I mean, you cannot sustain any sort of high-level training unless you have a carbohydrate-based diet.
Is there a certain guideline or levels that you would recommend? Let's stay with carbs right now.
Right. Okay. So what I would say is this: for the average person, and I'll talk a little bit more about like the athlete, but for the average person, I'd say about 50% of a person's diet, approximately, should be your carbohydrates.
Not a very popular
notion. No,
these days.
No, it's not. It is not. But that's really the reality of it. For an adult female, I would say approximately 200 grams of carbohydrate a day. For a man, it's probably closer to 300. Your protein intake, and if you want, I can go back to the carbohydrate. So the 3 macronutrients: the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the fat. I think most Americans get more protein than they actually need. I think that, again, for athletes, protein consumption is definitely more critical than for the average person, because when you're performing at a high level, you're causing micro tears, you're breaking your muscle down, and you need to rebuild. And that's why higher protein consumption for athletes is important.
Helps them recover.
It does, and it's essential. I mean, you have to have a certain level of protein in your diet in order to recover successfully. For the average person, maybe about 45 grams of protein a day. If you're an athlete, a little bit higher than that. Fat, the awful, scary word. The myth is that all fat is bad. I mean, it's funny because I was just kind of looking through a few magazines today, and I saw, some headlines or highlighted sections of a page about fat, and the truth is, not all fats are bad. Fat is an essential component of your cell membrane. It's an essential part of every person's diet. But the key is, what type of fats are you consuming and how much are you consuming? Those are really the two critical points that I'd like to make regarding fats. Things like too much saturated fat, too many.
So give us examples.
Yeah. So saturated fat, you find that in meats. You find that in heavy, like pastries, cookies, cakes, butter. Poultry has some saturated fat. Trans fats. That's that famous word, buzzword everyone was talking about maybe 10, 15 years ago. Those have been chemically altered, and they are found in many crackers, cookies. What they do is they chemically alter these foods so that they have a longer shelf life, and so those are definitely not healthy fats. It's just saturated
And so
fats.
good fats
Nuts,
Nuts.
avocado.
So there are two types of healthy fats: the polyunsaturated fats, monounsaturated fats. You hear a lot about omega-3s. Those that you find those fats in things like salmon, almonds, flaxseed oil, certain oils. They're essential for, as I said, the integrity of the cell membrane. They're also finding that omega-3s are essential and can be preventative for things like Alzheimer's disease. These are well substantiated claims.
Let's talk about breakfast. Growing up, I've always heard the most important meal of the day is breakfast. But there's increasing research out there that actually having breakfast is crucial to losing weight or maintaining a stable weight. How important is breakfast? And what are some of the dangers if you don't eat breakfast, Nina?
Yeah, being a mother of 4, I have visited this topic quite often. I have my youngest son, Michael, is 18. He is currently at Vermont Academy, a boarding school, and it's so funny because I often say, okay, before an exam or before your crew practice, did you eat breakfast? And more times than not, he says no, so, which is very disturbing to me. I think this is a pretty prevalent practice, and I can give you some statistics on that. According to a survey that was conducted by the International Food Information Council Foundation, 93% of Americans agree that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, yet fewer than half of all Americans eat it on a regular basis, which, that's pretty amazing to me. They found that the most dramatic decline begins at age 15, and this is when your social life becomes takes precedence and weight control becomes a priority. And this is a phenomenon that happens especially among females, which doesn't surprise me.
Which of course leads to eating disorders.
Exactly. Numerous studies have been done on individuals who skip breakfast, and they found that these individuals have lower intakes of protein, calcium, vitamin C, zinc, iron, fiber, and actually have higher fat intakes. There is definitely a inverse correlation between breakfast consumption and weight gain or weight loss. So what I'm trying to say here is that people that don't eat breakfast actually tend to gain weight as opposed to succeeding in a weight management or weight loss
Why is that?
strategy. That is because there are several reasons for that. First of all, when you skip your first meal of the day, if you think about it, if you ate, say, at 5 p.m., 6 p.m. the evening before, and you've gone several hours and all evening and all night long without eating, and then you skip breakfast. So say your next morsel of food's at 11 or 12 at night. What happens is, and this is kind of interesting because it ties back into what we were just talking about with the hunter-gatherer thing. Your body actually goes into hunter-gatherer mode. And what it does, it says, okay, wait a minute now. I've gone how many hours without eating? So now anything I have, instead of burning it and using it for my fuel, I'm going to store it, because how do I know when my next meal is? So it's a definite. There's no question about this happens. Your body's way of, it's a safety net for your body. That's number one. Number two is, think about it. When you've gone all that time, you start eating. And a lot of times it's happened subconsciously. You're making up for what you've missed. So you tend to overeat at lunch, and you tend to most likely snack and then overeat in the evening. And that's the time, frankly, the evening period, especially for adults, and especially if you're in a certain stage of life, that 6 p.m. and after is the period of time when you really want to back off, especially if you're looking for weight loss and weight management. That's the time that you want to back off on the calories and maybe go a little bit lighter, eat smarter, lighter, eggs. So when we talk about choices for breakfast, ideal breakfasts, I would say include whole grains, fruits, non-fat or low-fat milk, dairy products, and should provide about maybe 20 to 30% of your total calories a day. Now, protein,
Breakfast should?
about 20%, yes. Protein, I'll tell you, high protein intake at breakfast can be especially helpful in weight loss efforts because protein has 3 times the satiety value of carbohydrates and fats, which means that protein gives your brain, makes you feel fuller. It has 3 times that satiety feeling, that yes, I'm full, I'm done eating, than either fat or carbohydrate. So adding a substantial amount of protein to your breakfast is a very nice way to manage your weight, to fortify your muscles. And again, if you're an athlete, I mean, it's a great way to start your day. It sets the stage for your day. Favorite picks, okay, for protein choices, eggs is one of them. There again, it's kind of a nice.
What about the cholesterol?
I was just going to talk about that. So it's really interesting because this is one of those topics that has been very controversial over the years. There are some studies out there, honestly, and I'm going to be honest, that have said, okay, eating more than a certain number of eggs per week raises your cholesterol by a certain percentage. The latest article I just actually read today in my July 2013 Today's Dietitian magazine not completely refutes that statement, but clarifies it a little bit better. If you think about it, yes, eggs do have a level of cholesterol. They contain cholesterol, they contain fat. However, it's not really, the amount of cholesterol that you consume is just one factor in a person's cholesterol level. Genetics play a huge part. It's a genetic predisposition for high cholesterol. A lot of people have it. Of course, yes, if you have that pre-existing condition, yeah, you have to be careful about how many eggs you consume. I would say, honestly, some studies have said consuming a single egg a day should be fine. So you have to really look at a food and look at the benefits and the risks and what are your goals. You have to look at your individual client or the person that you're working with and say, okay, what are the person's goals? What are they trying to achieve? Are they looking for weight management? Are they looking to fortify their diet to optimally perform in a marathon? It's all about assessing what are the long-term and short-term needs of this particular individual, and how can I provide on a daily basis a nutritional protocol for the person that is going to best address their needs. No food is perfect. That's another thing. There's no food is perfect.
There's all these new PX90 or whatever, boot camp style exercises. There's been long-standing debate of whether to do more cardio or weightlifting, and what is better. Let's say for weight loss.
Right.
Obviously, you should be doing it, both of them, but at what level and at what balance?
Okay, that's a really great question. When I work with people, I work with clients of all different ages, all different levels of fitness, who have maybe different conditions, or maybe have had prior injuries, or they are currently dealing with an injury. But what I would say is this. People ask me, what's more important? The big question is always, okay, Nina, what's more important? If I only have 40 minutes to get in here, what's more important, cardio or the weight training? And I honestly say to them, I can't say that one is more important than the other, because they are both critical for a healthy, fit lifestyle. Again, I'll go back to goals. It's always important.
And should it be 50-50 or?
Yeah, it depends. Again, it depends on the short term.
Weight loss.
Yeah, weight loss. So what I would say is this: if I'm working with a client who's interested in weight loss, what I recommend is weight training 2 to 3 times a week, and cardiovascular training 5 times a week. You want to work out cardiovascularly at least 30 minutes a day. 30 to 60 is ideal. Weight training 45 minutes, I would say. and you can split it up any way you want. One day you might want to work on the upper body, another day you may want to do lower body. What I happen to really feel is a great way to work out someone that has some time constraints. I do a lot of circuit training, so I will work both within a session, within a 45 to 60 minute session. I will work the person out both cardiovascularly and use weight resistance training. I do circuits. I will jump from dumbbells. We'll do a 1 minute on with some squat thrusts or some frog jumps, or we'll get on a row machine and really push strokes per minute. I will work them out on a Stairmaster or an elliptical. So I really feel like getting that circuit training in is important for balance, for strength. For core training is critical, whether I don't care what kind of athlete you are. You're a runner, you're a basketball player, you're a swimmer. The core strengthening and stability it's key. It's critical for anything, even for functional daily living, even for an older person who may not be doing a lot of high intensity, training or workouts or whatever. Just for functional daily living, the ability to have a better sense of balance, to have better core strength, prevents older individuals from falling, from breaking hips. It's for the ability to go to the grocery store to pick up your bundles and put them into your car or your grocery cart without injuring your back. I mean, all of this is really important.
Yes or no, pasta?
Yes, if you're doing a lot of training. No, I shouldn't say never. Okay, so I'm saying not never, but maybe infrequently if you're looking for weight management or loss. And it should be whole grain.
Beef.
Yeah, beef, yes. However, quality cuts of beef, extra lean beef, and especially if you're a marathoner, and in particular if you're a female, you do want to include extra lean cuts of beef in your diet at least one time a week.
We already talked about this, but again, eggs.
Eggs, yes.
Fruits.
Yes.
Nuts.
Yes.
Low fat.
Yes.
Low carb.
No.
Pork.
I would say no.
No to pork.
Or maybe not never, but
I have read things that pork is one of those things that got a bad rep, but it's actually a very lean protein.
maybe I'm biased because I don't really like it. So this could be one of the reasons I'm saying, and I'm not saying never. I'm just, I guess more partial.
Cautious.
Yes, cautious. That's a great word. Perfect.
Olive oil.
Yes. Not in large quantities, but yes, there are a lot of helpful benefits.
Avocado.
Yes, but I will say in moderation. So avocados are fabulous. They are full of fiber and they are full of omega-3s. So it's a great food, but you have to be careful because there is a relatively high fat content. It's a calorically dense food. So what I usually recommend is maybe, if you're sitting down, putting in a salad or having it in a sandwich, how about half?
Lobster.
I love lobster, so I'll say yes.
I think my sister will love that. That's her favorite. What are about nutrition, wellness, for those listening on this steamy, muggy summer day?
Okay, all I can say is this. The goal should be a passionate, healthy lifestyle. And the only way to achieve that is to adopt a mindset and a nutritional protocol that is sustainable, that you can carry out through the remainder of your life, and something that's going to make you feel happy, feel sustained, and feel energized so that you can be the best person you can be.
Love that. Love that. All right, Nina Caron, thank you so much. And that's another edition of Hometown Talents and Treasures. We'll be right back here next Sunday.